feeling at your body, you found somebody who makes you change your ways, like hanging with your crew. Said you act like
What's going on? My name's Justin, and I come from the wonderful world of modernmixing.com, and you're checking me out on the Pro Audiophiles. How cool is that? So, what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you how I was able to mix these, ePiano/pad. I kind of view it more as like a pad. It sounds, well, I guess it's a combination between the two, but for the sake of this particular tutorial, I'm going to call it a pad. And I just want to sort of conceptually help you understand what I was doing or what I was trying to do when I was mixing this. So with this particular record, with this pad, I wanted it to be sort of a mysterious type of sound because the original sound, it sounded cool. It already gave me this haunting kind of mysterious vibe to it. But I just wanted to enhance that a bit and sort of, I guess accentuate it and sort of make it more obvious that this is a haunting type of sound. I'm a very visual mixer, and what I mean by that is I don't mean like with an EQ graph here and like, oh, look, I can see what I'm doing. I don't mean it like that. What I mean is I can actually visually see the sound in between my speakers and sitting in between my speakers, and I view that as my canvas. So to give you a visual perspective, let me just quickly go into Photoshop here, and this will give you an idea of what I was trying to do. So this green circle here, this represents the vocal, and this blue shape over here, this egg shape, this kind of represents that pad or that piano thing that I was talking about. So right now it's kind of in the center. It's very direct. You know where it's coming from, and the vocal sits out just in front of it, and that's why I put this blue circle just behind it. But again, it's two sounds that are very direct and very present and very obvious sounding, coming straight from the middle. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to get rid of that one, and I wanted to create something like this. So I'm trying to go for something that kind of takes up a wider spectrum in the stereo, but also kind of wraps around the vocal. And then, to take it one step further with some EQing and some shaping of the sound, you can see this is kind of butchering it, but hopefully you can get the idea. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to carve out some space so that vocal is even clearer now. So now you can see that green circle. It's really, really obvious where it is. It's in the center, and then everything else is kind of around it. So this is your focal point, and this purple stuff over here, blue, whatever, this is just your ambient, haunting, mysterious sort of vibe that's going on in the record. So, done with that. I don't want to save that. Let's sort of show you what I'm talking about from a start and then sort of finish. Okay, so let's see what this sounds like when I add the vocals in now. First, we'll start it with it off.
When you're feeling at your body, you found somebody who makes you change your ways, like hanging with your crew. Said you act like you're ready, but you don't really know. When you're feeling at your body, you found somebody who makes you change your ways, like hanging with your crew. Said you act like you're ready, but you don't really know. Everything in your past you wanna let.
Okay, so you should be able to hear it now. It's really, really sort of wrapping itself around the vocals now. It's, like I said, it's hugging it. It's, it's giving it more of a mysterious type of vibe to it. I've also done a lot of cleaning up to it, and I've done some leveling off as well. That way it's not sort of bouncing up and down so much dynamically, and then it's a little bit easier to place in the mix. So let's just go through one at a time, and I'll try and explain them as best as I can. First is the Q10. Pretty self-explanatory. I am just, taking out some of the bottom end here. I use two of these slopes here for the high pass just because it makes it a little bit tighter. You can see it sort of steepens the slope a bit. Set them to about 100, hertz or so. That's where the frequency cutoff is. But yeah, let's take a listen to it. And I mean, the reason why I'm doing this is because this particular sound had a lot of junk, and I mean, I don't want you to get too excited here about the high pass filter stuff, because I'm not a huge high pass filter type of person. But in this one particular situation, there's a lot of bass in the kicks and in the actual bass itself. There was just a really, really deep sub. So in this case, I decided to use a high pass here, because this sound, it was very dynamic, especially in the bottom end, and then mixing that with the bass and the kick, it kind of got a little bit sloppy. So anyways, let's demo this before and after.
When you're feeling at your body,
Okay, so you should really be able to hear that bottom end. It got cleaned up, and it's not quite as boomy anymore. So it's a little bit more focused in the mid-range, which is sort of what I want. Then we got this S1 imager, and this is really doing all the work as far as spreading things out and making things a little bit phasey. And this is sort of the crux of what's giving it that sort of mysterious sound. So I have it basically cranked all the way up to width 3.00 or 2.94, sorry. Almost 3.00. So I don't know why I decided not to go all the way, but whatever, it happens. And then I got the asymmetry here. It's set to -18, as you can see, and what it's really doing is it's making the left and right channel not quite as even. Again, sometimes there's these things that you just really can't explain, but when you twist them around and you flick the knob or whatever it is, it just kind of gives you a cool sound. And that's exactly what happened here, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, so I left it. But basically what it's doing is it's just not making it quite as even in the left and right channel, and again, helping along with that sort of mysterious type of vibe. So let's play this before and after. So it really opens up the sound, and it's not quite stereo where it's just left and right. There is stuff in the center still, but again, what it's really doing is it's creating that blanket so it can surround the vocal around the center, and again, it really phases out that center channel a little bit so it doesn't sound quite as direct. Then we got the C1 SC here, and what this is doing is around 250, there's a little bit of a bump, or like some, I don't want to call it resonance, but every time this sound peaks, like you'll see here, there's a, around the transient, around there, wherever, just, you get the idea. It just sort of peaked up around that sort of 250 zone. It was really resonant and boomy, and it was, stopping me from getting it to really, really gel with the rest of the sounds on the record. So I added one of these things. I start with the preset that I have. It's called, MM Vocal Low Resonance, and ratio set to 4.7:1 attack, really fast, because I want this thing to hit it really hard. And the release is kind of just set to, as much as I can get it set to the waveform of this particular sound. So it'll kind of bounce off of it in a musical way. Like it just releases it just in time as that sound is sort of starting to dissipate a little bit. So it doesn't hold on to it too long, because that's what I don't want. But anyways, let's check it out. And again, this is used for, I guess you could call it cleaning. It's really just helping place it in between the speakers. This is not really helping with the haunting sort of sound. This is more of a corrective type of thing, I guess. Then we got the R-Compressor, similar thing. It's just helping smooth out those peaks. A really fast attack, fast release, 3.5:1 ratio. I'm knocking off about 3 dBs. And again, this plugin, though it's not, I wouldn't call it a transparent compressor. It also allows you to sort of hit a sound pretty hard. In this case, I'm only doing 3 dBs, but you could even go as high as, say, 6 dBs of reduction. And as long as you set the parameters up, properly, it doesn't sound like it's really killing the sound, which is what I like about this thing. So anyways, I'll show you what it's doing. Again, this is more for a smoothing out type of thing, so it's easier to place it in between the speakers. Again, it's really just focused around the peaks, like the tops. I'm just trying to shave off just a little bit. as much as I can get away with anyways. Then we have the L1, and this is kind of just like the last line of defense. I'm trying not to hit anything too hard with this, but it's just there just in case something gets out of hand. So let's play it. Then we got the Camel Crusher, and this is really just to add a little bit of color, adding some tube and some mechanical distortion here. So a little bit of lower mids and some upper harmonics. And again, it's really just for some color, just to kind of make it a little bit more gritty. Nothing too crazy with this, but I can do the before and after. Check it out. So I really, tried to let this one play quite a bit, because I wanted to see if, like, as I'm flicking it on and off, if you could actually hear that mid-range color that it's adding. But again, it was just to give it a little color, a little bit of clarity, and some grit, and that's it. So that's how I was able to achieve that sound, and hopefully my explanation and everything was able to help you understand why I was doing it and why I did what I did. But that's it. So thanks for watching, and I will check you on the next tutorial.
When you're feeling at your body, you found somebody who makes you change your ways, like hanging with your